Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here because today's story is not just about love. It's about dignity, clarity, and the moment someone finally wakes up and sees the truth behind a mask. My name is Raymond, and I want to tell you how one dinner, just one, changed the entire course of my life. When my girlfriend asked me to meet her parents, she made it sound like a simple favor. It means a lot to me, she said. And when someone you care about asks you for something like that, you don't argue. You just say yes. I expected a basic dinner, some polite smiles, maybe a little awkward small talk, and that would be it. But that night, sitting at her parents' table, I was ridiculed and laughed at in Spanish. What they didn't know, what she didn't know, is that I understood every single word. And by the time dessert was served, I gave them a response they never saw coming. I met Valeria back when I was just settling into a new role at a pharmaceutical company. It wasn't glamorous. Entry-level stuff, logs, paperwork, basic reporting. But it was solid, and I knew I could build something from there. One ordinary afternoon, while I was buried in spreadsheets, she walked in holding a small padded envelope meant for my supervisor. He was out, so I signed for it. She looked like someone who didn't waste time. No chit-chat, just work. But something about that made me want to make her laugh. So I tried, told her we were the highlight of her delivery route, and she should savor the moment. It was corny, but she cracked a smile. That smile changed everything. She started showing up more often, and not just to drop things off. She lingered, asked questions. At first it was about work, then it was about me. Eventually it was obvious this wasn't just about packages anymore. She had this warmth about her, something earthy and grounded, and I found myself wanting to know more. I wasn't caught up in anything messy. I was single, steady, and for the first time in a long while, someone genuinely interesting was standing right in front of me. One day, she stopped by like usual, and just before she left, I asked, "So, what's the plan for tonight?" I figured she'd mention dinner with friends or some casual hangout. Instead, she just smiled and said, "Sleep? Just sleep." It caught me off guard, and we both laughed. It was weirdly charming, and I felt it. The opening. I invited her to dinner, a new spot my friend had told me about. Quiet, good food, the kind of place where conversation just happens. She paused, studying me, then nodded. All right. That was all I needed. We met that night, and it just clicked. The restaurant was perfect, low lighting, the kind of ambience that wraps around you. We talked about music, food, childhood stuff, random things that felt bigger than they were. That night didn't end in fireworks. It ended in peace, and that felt better. From there, we grew closer. Calls turned into dates. Casual turned into committed. And eventually, I asked her to be mine. She said yes. I remember leaving that cafe, feeling like I just won something important. For 3 years, we were solid. Not perfect, but real. Weekend trips. Inside jokes. Long nights of deep conversation. She fit into my world like she belonged there, and I thought I fit into hers too. But after her younger sister got married, I noticed a shift. Subtle at first. Mentions of marriage. Jokes about when it would be our turn. Then it got heavier. Expectations. Her parents, her culture, the weight of tradition pressing in. I understood. I respected it. But I wasn't ready, not because I didn't love her, but because I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to give her the kind of wedding she dreamed about without going broke in the process. I told her about the promotion I was working hard toward. I asked her for a little more time. She said she understood. But something in her changed. She became distant. Conversations became shorter. Calls went unanswered. I could feel her pulling away, like she was already halfway gone. Then, one Thursday afternoon, she texted, "Are you free this weekend? My parents want to meet you." I hesitated. Meeting the parents is a big deal. I wasn't sure I was ready, especially with how things had been lately. I started typing a polite excuse. Before I could send it, she hit me with another message. Really? What could possibly be more important than meeting my parents? That made me stop. She wasn't wrong. I wasn't actually busy. I was just nervous. So I agreed. She lit up instantly. "They're going to love you," she said. I wanted to believe that. I prepped like I was going to a job interview. Bought a bottle of good wine. Picked out a sharp outfit. Looked up dinner etiquette online like it was a final exam. I wanted to show up right. I wanted to be someone they could take seriously. Saturday came. I sat in my car outside their house, took a deep breath, and told myself, just be respectful. Just be real. You've got this. The evening started well. Her parents greeted me warmly. Her dad offered me a drink. We had small talk while Valeria and her mom finished things in the kitchen. Dinner was set. It smelled amazing. The table looked like something out of a magazine. I actually felt hopeful. Then it happened. Her mother said something in Spanish, and the whole table burst into laughter. Except me. I didn't react. I kept my eyes on my plate, chewing slowly. But inside, I froze, because I understood exactly what she said. She mocked my job, said I wouldn't be able to support anyone properly, let alone their daughter. Her husband chimed in, saying I looked like I had the least ambition of any guy she brought home. That one stung more than I expected. And then Valeria. She laughed with them, told them I was just a temporary thing, said she only brought me there to meet them before she moved on to someone better. I sat there, heart pounding, pretending not to understand while they tore me apart with smug smiles and sharp words. Her mom even asked, "Are we sure he doesn't understand Spanish?" Valeria laughed and said I was too dumb to know what was happening. Then, smiling sweetly, her mother turned to me in English and asked, "Are you enjoying the food, Raymond?" I looked up, smiled right back. "Yes, ma'am. It's delicious." And the food was wonderful. It was everything else at that table that left a bitter aftertaste. When dessert plates were cleared, I stood up, thanked them for the food, for the evening, and I did it in Spanish. Clear, calm, intentional. The entire room went dead silent. Her dad sat frozen. Her mom blinked in shock, and Valeria turned white as a sheet. I told them, still in Spanish, that I had heard everything, every insult, every arrogant little jab. I wasn't confused. I wasn't oblivious. I was just patient. And now I was done. I grabbed my coat, nodded politely, and left. I never told Valeria I had studied Spanish in high school. For years. I wasn't fluent, but I knew enough to sit through that dinner and let them expose exactly who they were without saying a word. I'd even practiced one line that week, hoping to impress them. Just one sentence. "Thank you for having me." By the time I got home, my phone was lighting up with missed calls and frantic texts. She wanted to know why I never told her I understood Spanish. As if that was a betrayal. Not what she said. Not how she laughed. I didn't respond. I didn't block her either. I just left the phone face down on the counter and let the silence do the talking. The next morning, there was a knock at my door. I already knew who it was. I opened it, and there she was, furious, exhausted, desperate. "Why are you ignoring me?" she snapped. I didn't argue. I just looked at her and said, "Because I don't owe you anything." She tried to wave it off. "It was just a joke. You're taking it too seriously." No, it wasn't a joke. A joke doesn't humiliate someone like that. A joke doesn't involve your whole family mocking the man you claim to love. That wasn't humor. That was cruelty. She tried to step inside. I blocked her, told her clearly, "You're not welcome here." She froze. Her face dropped. Maybe she thought I'd cave, that I'd yell or cry or beg. But I didn't. I shut the door. I locked it. Her text got worse. From guilt to gaslighting, accusations, apologies, insults. It all flooded my phone until it just became noise. That's when I blocked her everywhere, not out of anger, out of peace. Walking away from that relationship wasn't easy. I won't lie. It hurt. There were good memories, moments when I thought we were building something real. But after that night, I couldn't pretend anymore. I saw her for who she really was, when she thought I couldn't hear her. And once someone shows you who they are, believe them. I didn't crumble. I didn't retaliate. I walked away with dignity. And that was the beginning of something better. I turned inward, focused on my career, my health, my passions. I reconnected with old friends. I started reading again. I started living, really living, without needing someone else's approval. I'm not rushing to fill the space she left. I'm sitting with it, learning from it, and that's made me stronger. I won't say I'm fully healed, but I'm healing. And what I've learned is this: self-respect isn't optional. It's the price of peace. And when you choose it, you walk into a life that's honest, steady, and truly yours. Thanks for listening.